June 5, 1944. The largest invasion in human history is about to begin. Over 150,000 Allied soldiers are preparing to storm the beaches of Normandy. But there's a problem. German intelligence has intercepted communications, and they suspect an invasion is coming. If Hitler moves his elite panzer divisions to Normandy in the next 24 hours, D-Day will become a massacre. The entire war hangs in the balance, and everything depends on one man. A double agent who doesn't even exist. His name is Juan Pujol Garcia, but the British know him as Agent Garbo. To the Germans, he is Arabelle, and he is about to pull off the greatest deception in military history. To understand how impossible this story is, we need to go back 3 years. In 1941, Juan Pujol was a Spanish chicken farmer who hated fascism. He'd watched the Spanish Civil War destroy his country, and now he was watching Hitler do the same to Europe. He wanted to fight back, but he had no military training, no connections, and zero skills that any army would find useful. So he did something absolutely insane. He decided to become a spy. Not for his own country, but for Britain, who had repeatedly rejected his offers to help. This is where the story gets crazy. Since the British wouldn't take him, Juan decided he would prove his worth by spying for the Germans first, and then betraying them to the British with valuable intelligence. Just think about that logic. He would infiltrate the Nazi intelligence network, gain their absolute trust, and then flip to the other side. In February 1941, Juan walked into the German embassy in Madrid and offered his services. He claimed to be a fanatical Nazi sympathizer who traveled to London for business and could spy on the British. Shockingly, the Germans believed him. They gave him invisible ink, a code book, and told him to report on British military movements. There was just one massive problem. Juan had never been to Britain. He'd never even left the Iberian Peninsula. He didn't speak a word of English. He had no idea what London actually looked like. But he had just convinced the Nazis that he was their man in England. So Juan went to the public library in Lisbon. He studied British maps, tourist guides, railway timetables, and old newsreels. He created an entirely fictional life in London, complete with fake contacts and imaginary subagents. Then, from a basement in Lisbon, he started sending reports to the Germans about British military activities that he was completely making up. And the insane part? The Germans loved his reports. They thought he was brilliant. They paid him more money and demanded more intelligence. Juan was inventing an entire spy network that existed only in his imagination, and the Nazis were falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. For months, he fabricated reports. He claimed to have recruited a pilot, a wealthy widow, a Venezuelan student, and even a Welsh nationalist. None of these people were real. He created 27 fictional subagents, each with a detailed backstory, personality, and reason for betraying Britain. The Germans believed every single one of them, but Juan had a problem. His fake intelligence was a little too fake. He needed real information to mix in with his fiction, or the Germans would eventually catch on. For example, he once reported that people in Glasgow would do anything for a liter of wine, not knowing that Scotland was a whiskey country and didn't even use liters. He needed to actually work with British intelligence, so he tried contacting them again. The British were skeptical. They'd heard about a mysterious agent sending reports from London that were clearly fake, but there was something intriguing about this guy. He was getting away with it. The Germans trusted him completely. In April 1942, British intelligence finally brought Juan to London. They were stunned. This wasn't some trained operative. This was a former chicken farmer from Barcelona who had somehow built himself into one of Germany's most trusted spies through pure audacity and creativity. Mi-5 realized they had struck gold. If the Germans believed Juan's network was real, they could use him to feed false information directly to Hitler's high command. They gave him a handler and a codename, Garbo, after the actress Greta Garbo, because he was the greatest actor they'd ever seen. For the next 2 years, Juan, now Agent Garbo, sent carefully crafted messages to Germany. He mixed real, verifiable information with false intelligence that would lead the German army astray. His fictional network grew, all feeding information to the Nazis. The Germans promoted him, paid him handsomely, and began to rely on his intelligence for major strategic decisions. And then came D-Day. The Allies needed the Germans to believe the main invasion would happen at Calais, not Normandy. They needed Hitler to keep his best divisions far away from the actual landing sites. Everything hinged on Garbeau. In the weeks before June 6th, Garbeau's fictional agents reported massive troop buildups near Dover, directly across from Calais. They described inflatable tanks, fake airfields, and phantom armies. To sell the lie, British intelligence even had General Patton, whom the Germans deeply respected and feared, make public appearances in the area. The Germans bought it completely. But here's the most brilliant part of the entire operation. On June 5th, just hours before the invasion began, Garbeau sent an urgent message to his German handlers, warning them that an attack on Normandy was imminent. He radioed at 3 a.m., desperately trying to reach them. But nobody answered. His German handler was asleep. The message sat there, unread, until 8 a.m., by which time Allied forces were already on the beaches. When the Germans finally read the message, they were devastated. Their best agent had tried to warn them, and they had missed it. Garbeau's credibility skyrocketed. The Germans trusted him more than ever before. Now it was time for Garbeau to deliver the killing blow. On June 9th, 3 days after D-Day, he sent another urgent message. The Normandy landings, he insisted, were just a diversion. The real massive invasion was still coming at Calais. He told Hitler not to move his panzer divisions from Calais to Normandy, or he would fall right into the Allied trap. And Hitler believed him. For 7 critical weeks, German panzer divisions sat waiting at Calais for an invasion that would never come, while Allied forces broke out from the Normandy beaches and secured their foothold in France. By the time Hitler realized he'd been deceived, it was too late. The war in Western Europe was effectively lost for Germany. Juan Pujol had defeated the German military without firing a single shot. His fictional spy network had changed the course of history. The Germans never found out they'd been fooled. Even after the war, captured Nazi intelligence officers insisted that their agent, Arabelle, had been their most reliable source. For his efforts, the British awarded Juan the Member of the Order of the British Empire. The Germans, still completely in the dark, awarded him the Iron Cross. He is the only person in history to receive top military honors from both sides in World War II. After the war, Juan faked his own death to escape any potential Nazi revenge. He moved to Venezuela and lived a quiet life under a new name. For 40 years, the world, including his own family, thought he was dead. But in 1984, a British historian tracked him down. Juan was 72 years old, living in a small apartment in Caracas. When asked about his incredible story, he simply said, "I did what I thought was right. I hated war, so I fought it the only way I knew how. With lies?" Juan Pujol died for real in 1988. At his funeral, a representative from the British government delivered a letter from Prince Philip, thanking him for his service. German intelligence files, declassified in the 1990s, showed that to the very end, they believed Agent Arabelle was real. One man, with no training and no resources, created an intelligence network so convincing it fooled the most sophisticated military machine in the world. He saved thousands of lives on D-Day and shortened the war. There are memorials to soldiers on the beaches of Normandy, but there is no memorial to Juan Pujol Garcia, the chicken farmer who might have done more to ensure D-Day's success than any general. His story proves that sometimes the greatest warriors never hold a weapon. They win wars with nothing but words. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as I did, make sure to like and subscribe for more hidden histories.